There's a guy called Francis Tumblety. He was a quack doctor. There was a guy called Jacob Eisenschmidt, who was known as the Mad Butcher of Holloway. The victims are then mutilated to various degrees. Montague John Druitt. He was in the habit of carrying big knives with him. Victims with their throats cut, their clothes were pulled up, their abdomens were heavily mutilated. But do you want like the tour version where it's PG-12, or we're just talking serial killers? I think as a tour guide, half of your job is telling the story and keeping people interested. The other half of your story is kind of watching everybody as we go. So there's a skill to that. I always keep an eye on everybody and make sure we're all together. There have been certain instances where you might lose somebody, or somebody walks off the wrong way, and if you're in a busy street, that guy walks that way and then the rest of the crowd follow him too, and you get to the next spot and there's nobody there, you got to go running back and get them. It doesn't happen very often though. When I do the walking tours, I wouldn't want somebody to go home thinking, oh, that Jack the Ripper was a light-hearted bit of entertainment. This is something that really happened to real people in the area. But at the same time, I wouldn't want somebody to go home traumatized at the same time. If you were to Google Jack the Ripper suspects, there are dozens and dozens of names that will appear. There's Aaron Kosminski, James Mabry, the royal family. There's a guy called Francis Tumblety, Montague John Druitt, John Pizer. The only suspects that were really considered at the time by police, a guy called Jacob Eisenschmidt, was known as the Mad Butcher of Holloway. He was locked up in a mental asylum, and then the murders just kept going, so it wasn't him either. After that, there wasn't a lot to go on. With Jack the Ripper, as with countless other serial killers, he's put an awful lot of thought and mental preparation into what he wants to do, what type of weapon he wants to use, what type of victim he wants to select to get the greatest thrill out of doing these things. Everything from meeting the victim in the street to committing the offense, he wants to control the entire situation. He's already decided what sort of things he might wear, for example, what sort of things he's going to say, how he wants to come across to get her to do what he wants her to do. And that is to follow him to a dark, secluded spot. And once there, even the victims that he's chosen are small in stature. They're destitute women who are essentially homeless. Everything about the offense is about power and control. And he's rehearsed this a great deal. In my opinion, a man named Albert Backett was Jack the Ripper. He was actually born here in the East End. He is the right age, he fits the right description. He's got a criminal record for all the things you'd expect a serial killer to have today. At the time the murders took place, he was constantly injecting himself into the investigation. He told the police that he'd met the killer. He said that the killer was writing letters to his house to threaten him and warn him of murders. He then turned up completely uninvited to the inquest of Francis Coles at the Working Lads Institute on Whitechapel Road, demanding to be on the jury just when the jury were about to be taken out to view a body in the mortuary. Threw such a big fit when they wouldn't let him. The coroner told him if he didn't sit down and behave himself, he was going to have the police remove him from the building. I think he just wanted to see the body in the mortuary. There were 4 women that were attacked but got away. Police reports all said they'd been sleeping rough in the Whitechapel Spitalfields area when they met this guy who would offer them money to go with him, and he seemed to offer what were half-crown, half-sovereign coins. They were real valuable. Like 2 of them would have paid you rent for a month in the slums. And the police reports said they were typically valueless coins that were polished super brightly. It looked like gold ones in the dark. Albert Backett, as a copper plate engraver with years of experience, would absolutely have had all the tools and the knowledge to do that in the house. I mean, who else would? I mean, I'm always open-minded if there's some legendary new evidence comes up, but for what my opinion is worth, he's far and away the leading suspect that you would want to go and speak to. I think that if horrible things from history are going to be remembered, it's important that they should be remembered exactly as it happened. Sometimes people say, oh, isn't it inappropriate or ghoulish to be doing a walking tour about Jack the Ripper? And there's a lot to the tour. It's not just some, lurid murder stroll. I have no problem with other people doing the tours as long as they are telling people the facts exactly as they happened. I think it's just important that when these were acts that were committed against real people and not even that long ago, I think history should be remembered exactly as it happened. And as long as people are doing that, I have no problem with it. I have had people faint on the tour. Next one will be number 20.